Hello, I'm Brian Young, and this is Module 00108, Basic Employability Skills. Let's get started. Basic Employability Skills. Successful completion of this module prepares you to do the following. Describe the opportunities in the construction business and how to enter the construction business. Describe the construction business and the opportunities offered by the trades. Explain the workers, how workers can enter the construction workforce. Explain the importance of critical thinking and how to solve problems. Describe critical thinking and barriers to solving problems. Describe how to solve problems using critical thinking. Describe problems related to planning and scheduling. Explain the importance of social skills and identify ways good social skills are applied to the construction trade. Identify good personal and social skills. Explain how to resolve conflicts with coworkers and supervisors. Explain how to give and receive constructive criticism. Identify and describe various social issues of concern in the workplace and describe how to work in a team environment and how to be an effective leader. There are no performance tasks for this module. It's a knowledge-based module. Overview, it says becoming gainfully employed in the construction industry takes more preparation than simply filling out a job application. It's essential to understand how the construction industry and potential employers operate. Your trade skills are extremely important, but all employers are also looking for those who are eager to advance and demonstrate positive personal characteristics. This module discusses the skills needed to pursue employment successfully. They say dress for the job you want. You're going to want to, if you go to an interview, dress for the part that you're going to play. If you're going to be a construction worker, dress as a construction worker. Have work boots, long pants, shirt with at least a 4-inch sleeve. Be neat and clean. Clean shaven doesn't mean you don't have a beard or mustache. If you do have a beard and or a mustache, have it trimmed neatly so you have a good appearance and you look like someone who's going to be an asset to that company. Opportunities in the construction industry. This just gives the performance tasks again. It says the construction business 1.1.0. Construction industry is made up of a wide variety of specialized skills. This diverse industry is made up of both laborers and professionals working together. Industry opportunities have a global presence. Skilled tradespeople are needed in areas such as war zones and major construction sites around the world. The trades are not limited solely to building construction. There are also global opportunities for many craft workers, such as wind turbine technicians, welders, power line workers, crane operators, and instrumentation technicians that are not directly related to new construction. Here are some of those examples. The construction industry consists of independent companies of all sizes and specialize in one or more types of work. For example, a smaller company might install HVAC systems in residences, where a large mechanical contractor might be responsible for the HVAC and piping systems associated with a hospital. They also have to be interlocked with the fire alarm, so that if there is a fire and the fire alarm goes off, the supply ducts are closed. You don't bring in any fresh air from outside because you don't want to feed the fire. At the same time, the exhaust ducts need to keep running so that they can vent any smoke from the building outside of the building. So the trades have to work together. Electricians, HVAC, we all work together. Following are some examples of the workforce needed to build a large-scale project. We might need architects, civil engineers, project managers, heavy equipment operators, concrete pourers, crane operators, iron workers, welders, electricians, plumbers, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning technicians, pipe fitters, carpenters, instrumentation technicians, landscape designers to decide on the aesthetics of the project. Did you know the difference between blue collar and white collar jobs began in the 1920s when office workers started wearing white shirts almost exclusively with a tie? The term blue collar was coined because manual laborers typically wore dark colors that did not show soiled areas. Here's a highlight. It says many companies have a mission statement, which explains how a company does business. Here's the hypertext. It's a statement of how a company does business. It's their operating infrastructure. It's an explanation of how they're going to go about it. The company may describe their philosophy in an employee handbook or other materials during a new hire orientation. However, a company describes its role in the construction industry. It is very important to become familiar with your company's policies and procedures to know what is expected of you. Here's another highlight. It says, in fact, the time to learn about a potential employer is before an application is even submitted. Go on their website, see what their mission statement is. Use those words. It sounds ridiculous. Parrot it back to them. If they say they're an up and coming global corporation trying to better the world through green technology, say, I want to get a job with an up and coming global contractor who's trying to make the world a better place through green technology. Tell them exactly what it is that their mission statement says. They won't be insulted. It shows that you took the time to look them up on the internet. 1.2.0, entering the construction workforce. It says upon completion of your training, it'll be time to find a job where your newly acquired skills can be put to use. The first step of a job search is writing a resume that will get an employer's attention. I've heard that you should not write one resume and give it to 15 different potential hiring firms. You should write 5 or 6 different ones. You should try to tailor your resume to the job position that you're trying to get and to the company that you're applying to. A good resume can make the task of finding a job much easier. The following are some guidelines for resume writing. That's highlighted. And the third bullet is highlighted. Format your resume chronologically, putting your current or most recent job first, and then go backward in time. Use a readable font. Write your objectives using keywords found in the job description to create a relationship between the two. Use short sentences and bulleted lists to describe your skills, again using keywords found in the job description. Include certifications and training credentials in specific trade areas. Make sure that all contact information is current, accurate, and easy to find. Personal information such as hobbies or volunteer work and commitments can be listed. Check your resume for inaccurate or missing dates. Also, make sure that the people you're using as references still have the phone numbers that you're putting down on the resume. If they call someone for a reference for you and it says the numbers are no longer in service, they'll probably put your application on the bottom of the stack. I'll be honest with you. Have someone proofread your resume to make sure it's free of spelling errors, typos, and poor grammar. Provide clear personal references or indicate that such a list can be provided upon request. This is highlighted. Look for a job that will match your skill level. So if you've gone through a trade school and you're ready to start apprenticeship, don't apply for crew leader. Don't apply for superintendent. Apply for helper or apprentice. Typically, a job posting will include a summary of all of the position, the required qualifications, and an overview of the benefits. Here, this is highlighted. Most employers advertise openings on the internet and require online applications. Nowadays, it seems like everybody's familiar with the internet. At one time, it was something brand new and nobody really knew how to use it. Be fluent in being able to look up the companies and to submit a resume or a job application electronically. To perform an internet search, use a website dedicated to job searching or go directly to a company's website. If a computer is not available, libraries and unemployment offices generally have computer stations for public use. Job openings can also be found in local newspapers and trade magazines. It says today, one of the most important and productive methods to identify job opportunities is through networking. Studies indicate that as many as 70% of available positions are not publicly advertised. At the same time, job seekers are spending roughly 70% of their time looking through public job postings. Obviously, there are many more opportunities available than job seekers are able to identify through postings. There are many ways, including social media, to share your interests in finding a specific type of job. Identify companies that you'd like to work with, regardless of job postings, and then look for contacts within the company that can help you identify opportunities. A lot of companies say 365 days a year now hiring, drivers wanted, or electricians wanted, or plumbers wanted. Call the number, call the company, tell them you'd like to put in an application, you'd like to stop by and talk to someone and hand them a resume. They'll make the time, even if they're not looking for anyone right this minute. They'll take the time to interview you and to take your resume. Okay. The high cost of benefits. Well, the pay rates of craft workers vary widely. The actual cost of an employer to a company, of an employee to a company, averages 35% more than the employee's wages. For example, if a worker's hourly wage is $25, the company will spend another $8.75 per hour to pay for benefits such as health care and vacation time. Even higher percentages are not uncommon. Ask your current supervisor, co-workers, and friends that you know well if they would act as references for you. A reference is a person who can confirm to a potential employer that you have the skills, experience, and work habits that are listed in your resume. Ensure that your resume is up to date, well organized, and easy to read. Apply the effective writing techniques that you learned in basic communication skills when writing a resume. By carefully selecting jobs that you are qualified for and by submitting an accurate, well-written resume, you improve your chances of being called for an interview. The effective communication skills you learned in basic communication skills will help you present yourself well. Before accepting an offer, ask yourself the following questions to ensure the position will be the right fit. Is the salary enough to meet my needs? Does the company offer a benefit package that covers what I need? Will the work be interesting and challenging, but not more than I can handle? Does the company have a good reputation in the industry? Do the people appear to be nice to work with? Is travel required, and am I able to agree to that? Does the company offer training? Are advancements opportunities within the organization evident? What's the company's safety record? Before an offer is made, some trades require credentials or qualification testing to assess an applicant's skill level. This is highlighted. It says to ensure workplace safety, many companies also require drug testing as part of the pre-employment process. You should not have to pay for the drug testing. If you go and apply for a job and they say, okay, we want to send you to this clinic and you need to take a urine test and it's $50. No, I'm not going to pay that. I'll be happy to go and take the test for you, but it's part of your hiring procedures that I take that test. So your company needs to pay for it. And it's a business write-off. They won't lose any money. Appropriate identification, such as driver's license, U.S. Social Security card, national identification card, and or a valid passport, must be given to the employer. If a position outside your country or of citizenship is applied for, check the hiring and documentation requirements for that specific country and what may be required of non-citizens. After accepting a position and even before the interview process begins, it's wise to obtain an organizational chart. Organizational charts are used to help all employees understand the structure of the company and what position and or individual has responsibility for various areas. So here's an example of an organizational chart. President or CEO, then you have executive assistants and pre-construction manager, business development, vice president, controller, office manager. You're going to be down here, apprentice, working under a journeyman, working under either a lead man or a foreman, under a superintendent, under a project manager. So you're going to start out like we all did at the bottom. I'm not going to read any of that. Going green, green collar jobs. In recent years, there's been a big shift in environmentally friendly construction. This has created many new sectors in the U.S. economy, including everything from recycling to energy retrofits, green building, solar installation and maintenance, water retrofits, and whole house performance, HVAC. These jobs are in green businesses and all involve work that directly affects the environmental quality. Any job that involves the design, manufacture, installation, operation, and or maintenance of renewable energy and energy efficient technologies are considered green collar jobs. Many of these jobs have opened the new doors or removed barriers to employment. In the construction industry, opportunities exist in the following areas: installation, construction, maintenance, repair of energy retrofits, HVAC, solar panels, whole home performance, installation, construction, maintenance, and repair of water conservation and adaptive gray water reuse. Gray water is water that has it's been used once, and before it goes to a reclamation center, it's treated chemically, but they don't get it to the point of being potable. It's not drinkable water. It doesn't have live bacteria in it or anything, but it's not potable water. And it's easier for the municipalities to have this category of gray water, saying you can use this to wash your car or water your lawn, but you can't use it to drink. Construction, carpentry, and demolition in green buildings and recycling. Applications then and now, it says before computers and the internet became part of daily life, job applicants approached the job market in a very different way. Instead of searching websites and sending their resume off with a click of a mouse, more footwork was involved. Reading through the classifieds of the local newspaper or going door to door to fill out applications were arduous, time-consuming tasks. 1.0.0 section review. Who plans, coordinates, and controls a project's progress or a portion thereof? The project manager. Which of the following is a valid statement about a resume? Was used highly creative and unusual font? No. Format the resume chronologically, putting your current or last job first? Yes. Do not allow others to proofread. Resumes should not include certifications. So B, format your resume chronologically with the most recent job first. 2.0.0, critical thinking and problem solving. Explain the importance of critical thinking and how to solve problems. Describe critical thinking and barriers to solving problems. Describe how to solve problems using critical thinking, and describe problems related to the planning and scheduling. 2.1.1 Barriers to problem solving. When searching for the solution to a problem, it's easy to fall into a trap that prevents you from making the best possible decisions. The following are the most common barriers to effective problem solving. Closed-mindedness. You're not willing to listen to someone else's ideas. Personality conflicts. General fear of change. This is highlighted. To be closed-minded is to distrust any new ideas. Closed-minded people may also resist any suggested changes. Effective problem solving, however, requires you to be open to new ideas. Sometimes the best solution is the one that you would have never considered on your own. Remember that other people have good ideas too. You must be willing to listen and evaluate their input fairly. Sometimes you may fail to appreciate the value of information or advice simply because you do not get along with the person offering it. One of the most important skills one can master is the ability to separate the message from the messenger. Weigh the value of the information separately from your feelings about the individual. This ability will show people that you're a true professional. People often fear change when they believe it threatens them somehow, while it's often the lack of change that is the problem. In addition, it's often difficult to clearly see the path to implementing change or to envision the final result. The path forward or results of a proposed change is difficult to see. The fear of change is combined with a fear of the unknown. This is highlighted. It says, if you embrace the concept of change, you'll never stop finding new ways to solve problems. An ancient Greek philosopher named Heraclitus, I guess. Heraclitus is credited for first speaking the words, change is the only constant in life. Heraclitus. 2.2.0 Solving problems using critical thinking. Problems arise when there's a difference between the way something is and the way it should be or needs to be. You might feel frustrated or intimidated by a problem, or you might feel that you do not have enough time to solve it. Your reaction might be to simply ignore the problem. Instead, try to look at it as an opportunity to demonstrate your skills. By actively seeking the solution to the problems, you'll demonstrate to your colleagues and your supervisors that you are responsible and capable. Here, this is highlighted. It says to solve problems that arise on the job. That part is highlighted. And then let's see where the second part of the highlight is. Step one is to define the problem. So before you can solve a problem, you need to define it. You need to know what the problem is that you're trying to fix. Before you can solve a problem, you need to know exactly what it is. This step might seem obvious, but people often find themselves trying to solve the wrong problem or one that doesn't even exist. Analyze and explore alternatives. Teamwork is an important part of this step. Choose a solution and plan its implementation. Move forward by choosing the solution that you think will work best. Put the solution into effect and monitor the results. Evaluate the final result. If your solution does not work, go back to step 3 and choose another solution. Remember that not every solution will be successful. In fact, life and the workplace have a way of turning what appears to be a logical solution into a new disaster. This happens to everyone. Do not allow such a failure to destroy your confidence. Go back, think through the options once again, and move forward with a new solution. Consult someone else on the job. Tell them what you've tried and what didn't work, and ask them what they think would be the next step. And you might be surprised to find good advice from people. When the problem's finally solved, look back over the steps you took and see what lessons can be learned from the process. Perhaps there was something you could have done better. Maybe you could have saved time or money by changing a small part of the plan. So it's like anything, with practice you get better at it. Information on the internet, I'm going to skip that. Review the following hypothetical case. Imagine that you have a personal responsibility to finding a way to prevent the situation below from repeating itself. While on a job, your coworker asks you to retrieve more welding electrodes. This particular welding task must be finished by the end of the day, and that it's going to cut it close. You walk to the nearest tool room, but the attendant only has 60 electrodes in stock, and you need several hundred. The attendant checks with the other tool room, and they're fully stocked with electrodes you need. It will take some time to get to the other tool room, though. What can be done to solve the immediate problem? What can be done to ensure that the shortage doesn't happen again? So think about that and try to come up with a reasonable answer. Use some critical thinking. 2.2.1 Defining the problem. The proper type of welding electrodes must be readily available in order to keep the job running smoothly. It's critical that the task is completed by the end of the shift because the next shift needs to start the next phase. If the welding's not complete, it will impact the schedule and the budget. There's a short-term shortage of the proper welding rods. 2.2.2, analyzing the alternatives. You can take the 60 electrodes in stock, walk back to the task site, and then take a bicycle to the other tool room for the remaining electrodes. Or you could take a bicycle now to the other tool room, but it would take at least 30 minutes to complete the trip. You could also contact the other tool room attendant that has the electrodes and explain the predicament. Then you could ask the attendant to bring the electrodes to you. This will save you and the welder the time involved making the trip. While you're waiting, you can take the 60 electrodes to your coworkers so the job does not come to a halt. 2.2.3, choose a solution and a plan. After weighing each option, you decide to contact the other tool room attendant, ask for assistance, and then deliver the 60 electrodes to your coworkers. This will keep the job going and will have save some of your time away from the task by having the electrodes delivered. However, the delivery requires the attendant to close the stock room while making the trip, which could affect others needing important materials. To keep the tool rooms properly stocked with all consumable materials from now on, you suggest to your supervisor that the local stock attendants should take an inventory at the end of each shift and restock as appropriate. Implement and monitor. At the end of each shift, the attendants now inventory consumable materials to ensure a full stock of materials for the next day. They previously took inventory every 3 days. After a few days, someone in authority returns to the local stock rooms to see how the change is working and how the attendants feel about the new process. Perhaps they might have fresh input and suggest additional improvements to the process. 2.2.5, evaluate the final result. Since implementation, no tool room has run low on consumables. No one has had to scramble and search for material, and an attendant does not have to close the tool room to deliver the material. Remember, the word critical means important or indispensable. Critical thinking skills are an important and indispensable tools in your personal toolbox. As with any other tool, you must learn how to use these skills correctly and safely. When you do, you'll find that one of your most rewarding experiences you can have as a trade professional is to face a problem and solve it yourself. 2.3.0, planning and scheduling problems. Every task has a logical position in the overall project schedule. Each task must occur before another task, or at the same time as another task. Before beginning each task, ensure that it is understood that you are expected, what you are expected to do, and what is required to accomplish that task. You must know where your work begins and ends and which materials to install. Divide the task into individual steps and determine the sequence of performing the task. No matter how carefully you plan ahead, unexpected problems can suddenly appear. Usually extra time is built into the project schedules so that simple problems will not cause a delay. However, more complex problems can throw the project off track. Let's see here. It says typically problems will fall under one or more of the following categories: materials, equipment, tools, or labor. So here's a project management software they can use that tell them what days they'll work, what time they'll work on certain things, when they want to get it done. These are the dates, I believe. 2.3.1, materials. The materials required for a job are identified during the estimating stage of the project. Once the contract's been completed, they are then ordered from suppliers and delivered according to a prearranged schedule. Many job sites do not have sufficient room to store all of the needed materials for a structure at one time. Problems with materials can include errors of quantity or type, delays in delivery, and unavailability due to back orders or even abrupt business closure. So in many cases, material problems lead to changes in materials to be used. If the new material was not listed as an option in the contract specifications, a significant amount of time and effort may be required for the change request to be made to make its way through the approval process. 2.3.2 Equipment. Major construction equipment is usually selected and scheduled well before the need arises. If a site planner is a member of the construction team, he or she may be responsible for ensuring that the equipment is on site at the right time. Otherwise, project managers and other supervisors may be assigned to this responsibility. This generally depends on the scope of the project. Let's see, it says the lack of major equipment can create significant delays. In many cases, multiple crafts and subcontractors are relying on the equipment to move forward with their responsibilities. For example, if a crane is required to lift steel but is not available for any reason, iron workers, welders, and possibly other crafts find themselves at a standstill. 2.3.3 Tools. Workers and supervisors alike are responsible for ensuring that the appropriate tools are available. Workers are often expected to have common but specific tools when they are employed. Special tools that are expensive or unique are usually the responsibility of the employer. Both parties must ensure that they do their part to provide and maintain proper and functional tools. So there's a tool list that you're going to need for electrical, and you need to purchase those tools before you go on the job. 2.3.4 Labor. Labor, the men and women who perform the work on the job site, is the most important component of a project. Labor is often one of the most expensive project components as well, depending upon the country, the project, and the type of workforce needed. Project planners estimate the number of people needed each day and identify the range of skills required for those workers. Foremen ensure the right people are available and working on the right tasks. Common problems related to labor include tardiness, that's being late, and absenteeism, that means not there at all. Tardiness is habitually showing up late for work. Absenteeism is a consistent failure to show up for work. If you're going to be late, you need to call your foreman as soon as you are aware that you're going to be late. If you're driving to work and you're supposed to be there at 7, you're really supposed to try to be there by 10 minutes till 7. So if it's 6:45 and you know you have another half-hour drive ahead of you, you should go ahead and call the foreman. You should have his phone number. Don't try to use your cell phone while you're driving. Pull over to the side of the road, give him a call, and let him know, hey, I'm running late today. I'm on my way, but something came up. I got a flat tire or whatever. I'm going to be there at 7:15, but I will be there. And then go out. You'll be docked for a couple, 15, 20 minutes, maybe a half hour. But I'm sure that your boss would much rather have you there for 7.5 hours than not at all. Banner Bank Building in Boise. That's too many B's. I'm not going to read this. Handling delays. Always be aware of possible delays as you carry out your assigned tasks. Look as far forward into the portion of the project that you're responsible for. Consider the types of delays that could happen. This is highlighted. It says, if you see a potential cause for delay, notify your supervisor immediately. I've been on jobs before where I know we're using roughly 1,000 feet of conduit a day. And at noon, I go to the laydown yard and I pick up the last 200 feet of half-inch EMT. Well, right away, I'm going to go to the foreman. I'm going to say, just so you're aware, like I'm not trying to insult you, I'm not trying to do your job for you, but I just picked up the last 200 feet of half-inch EMT. We have no more. We've been using roughly 1,000 feet a day. So I don't know if you have some ordered. And at that point, he can say, yeah, thank you. I appreciate you letting me know. I have some ordered. It's supposed to be here in the morning. Okay, very good. Or maybe it was a surprise to him. I've had foremen who were very happy with me that I pointed that out to them because they said, yeah, I was unaware. I thought we had another 600 feet somewhere. No, I can't find it anywhere. So they call the supply house and they tell them, we need another 5,000 feet out here tomorrow. They'll send a truck, they'll bring that 5,000 feet of pipe. But you don't want the job to run out of material. Now you've got workers, each one making $25 to $30 an hour just standing around because they don't have material. Having a plan in place for delays, especially delays that occur regularly or happen often, enables a solution to be applied promptly. Always know clearly what your responsibilities are in such situations. Be prepared to solve the problem yourself if that's part of your assignment. Even then, always keep your supervisor updated and on delicate situations involving delays. 2.0.0 Section Review. In critical thinking, if new information you receive about an issue does not fit with what you already know, question it and try to separate facts from fiction. Change what you previously held as factual in your mind. Berate that person or thank them and forget about the information. I'd say change what you previously held as factual. Now, I think it's question it and try to separate fact from fiction. Separate fact from fiction. And then you're better prepared to make a decision. Why is it important to follow a plan through once it's implemented? To be sure the results are what you're looking for. If it's not, if you implement a plan and the plan goes awry, what did they say? Go back to the step where you made some possible solutions. You thought of 3 or 4 possible solutions. Go back to that step and pick one of the other solutions. Implement it and see, monitor it and see how well that goes. If material that was not specified in a contract document must be substituted for another type, the change will likely need to be agreed to by all. Pass through the testing procedure. Pass through an approval process. You want to make sure that the owner approves it and the architects approve it. They say, yeah, everything's good. We can